Hi, hello there. I'm Andrew. You all know me. Welcome to the first lesson of my Patreon, and first lesson of this. What is going to be just a kind of series of lessons slash like diary entries on like how to look at going about building and expanding vocabulary behind a drum kit. So if you're watching this, you're probably my guy Vola. You are probably my guy Vola. I hope you're watching this. I hope you're well. All of you, Vola included. So, so this is a look at how I sort of reverse engineering how I went about building like fluency and vocabulary behind a drum kit. I look at this, I've reverse engineered what I did, and kind of trimmed out the bits that didn't work so well, and I'm presenting the bits that did work so well, and continue to do so actually. So yes, so in here there is a worksheet of a bunch of different bars with a bunch of different stickings. Excuse me. And you can see the right hand is on the that top line, the left hand is at that bottom line, and then the kick on the bottom line. The spaces. And these are a series of syllables. These syllables are essentially, what we're going to look at doing is moving from one of them to the other and building fluency and moving around them. When I look at vocabulary on a drum kit, what do we want vocabulary for? What does it do? Vocabulary gives us things on the tip of our tongue in order to express ourselves quickly without having to like buffer or think or read music and like, you know what I mean? I'm clearly not displaying it well with my words right now. The amount of ums currently, I do apologize. Anyway, so when we're learning a second language, if those of you have learned a second language, what often happens is we begin the basics, the fundamentals of learning how that language works. And then we move from there into expanding what we can say. So first, it's usually something like, hello, my name is Andrew. Je m'appelle Andrew. Ich heiße Andrew. Me llamo Andrew. And then from there, going and learning a bunch of set phrases. So you'd be an absolutely awful conversationalist because you just have no flexibility. You don't necessarily, you're not able to navigate through the language. As you learn more words, you know, if I learn the phrase, where is the train station? This is hyper specific. This is only useful for when I'm looking for a train station, or in the rare occasion that where is the train station is the punchline to a joke, which slim at best. Our use of this sentence gets larger when we learn more words, and we're able to ask instead, where is the grocery store? Because we know the word for grocery store. We know how the sentence functions. So we can swap out the word train station for grocery store. Boom. Extra mileage. What we're looking at today is a similar kind of idea where we're trying to get bleed as much mileage out of a smaller set of things that we can. And the more kind of like granular our knowledge and understanding and command of the language is, the more we're able to navigate through it. But to begin with, right, okay, so these phrases in language or in drumming, like these preset fills it's a similar principle. If you learn a preset fill, if you learn like, oh yeah, here's this like chop from such and such a drummer, it's really, really good to learn because, you know, it's great to learn the technique. It's just great to have sticks in your hands and to be learning things, but it doesn't necessarily increase your vocabulary in that it's less engaging. You're taking something that somebody else has said and then you're learning it verbatim, and you're not necessarily engaging with the ideas or the concepts that phrase came out of. You know, if I'm chatting about like, where is the train station, and you learn like, oh yeah, that was really cool. He just said that, like, yeah, where's the train station? like, let's engage with the idea of like the dude's lost, the dude doesn't know where the train station is. So if you're taking a fill like Thomas Bridge and Chop, you know, number 234 or whatever, you're not engaging with the ideas, you're just saying what he said. And that's cool to learn how to say things, but if you want to learn how to say your own things, then it's necessary to go a little bit deeper. This is a really, really good way of doing that. So essentially what we're doing is we're looking to swap out those words within sentences. We're looking to build sentences of our own. Specifically, that's really what we're after. And we're going to, like, doing this, you're going to work on a whole bunch of stuff along the way. You're going to work on accents, you're going to work on singles, doubles, dynamics, you're going to work on coordination, you're going to work on mobility. There's so much that gets swept up in this stuff, and I love it because it does a lot of stuff as you're working. A couple of things. So as you're learning this stuff, try and keep a hi-hat, like a quarter note going, just because, you know, you might as well. It's really good for coordination. It's really good in a musical sense. If you're able to play these fills or like these ideas, and you're able to keep a tether, people on the stage, like humans that you're playing with, are going to love you. Because if you're playing some kind of like slightly syncopated stuff and it's not quite where they hear the one, then they may lose the beat. But if they've got a nice hi-hat coming through, it's going to help them out a lot. It'll also help your sense of time and help construct and reinforce your sense of time as you go. So great. Getting right in. So you'll see a whole bunch of different stickings across a whole bunch of different bars, a bunch of different patterns. The idea is we're going to start with home base. And I recommend that everybody starts with the single stroke roll as a home base. Just right, left, right, left, right, left, right. That's your bread. And we're going to try and pair a bunch of different things with it. As you get more comfortable, try using different home bases. Use a paradiddle as a home base. Use doubles as a home base. Use whatever as a home base. And try branching out, you know, from 1 to 2 to 1 to 3 to 1 to 4. And then you could try branching out from 2 to 3 to 2 to 5 to 2 to 6 and push out. Push out in that way and build your command, your vocabulary, your flexibility, your fluency in that way. But to start with, we're going to start with the single stroke roll as a home base, just to come back to. So all of these ideas pretty much are built out of singles and doubles. It's very binary. If we're looking at singles and doubles, there's no combination. There's no like pattern we cannot build out of ones and twos. Other than the absence of pattern, i.e. a rest. But still, that falls in with a pattern. Anyway, ones and twos. That's what we're looking at right now. So just singles and doubles. And I want to preface this with, any of these combinations of patterns, there is an enormous amount to gain out of any of them. There are so many different things that we can do to these patterns to mess with them, to look for new things. So what, like, I'll start pretty simple, start basic, and we'll kind of push out. So we're going to start with just the singles and doubles, and we're going to look at what we can do. And I'll show you kind of how I like to go about things. One analogy for this type of exercise I like is, this is not exhaustive. This is not like a 6-course meal. This isn't like we're eating this and we're eating this and we're eating this and we're eating this and we're going to eat until everything is completed. Like, there's no completing here. This is a charcuterie board of an exercise, of like an idea. Like, we're trying different things. We're messing about. Like, we're not eating like, I've got to eat this cheese and then I'm going to move on to this cheese. I'm going to eat all this meat. It's like, no, you're going to try a bit of this cheese with a bit of this meat with a bit of that chutney over there, and you're going to try, and you're going to, like, some things aren't going to work, some things are going to work, some things you're going to come back to, some things you're going to be like, yeah, cool, not for me. That's what this exercise is. We're fumbling around in the dark, essentially. So, right, singles and doubles. Here we go. So we're going to start with like longer phrases of them, I guess. Longer phases of singles and doubles, just to build comfort moving between the two. And then we're going to shorten it. So you'll notice that as I shortened it from like bar to bar and moved it to within, it's changing within the bar. Essentially, I ended up, when I played the simplest version of like single, single, and then a double on the right, then a double on the left, I had a paradiddle diddle. Or if you displace it, a 6-stroke roll. A paradiddle is essentially that. It's just like the simplest combination of a single and a double, or two singles and then a double. So that's kind of, it's a really nice way of you're trying to just get comfortable. You're trying to get comfortable with moving in between these two different things, trying to get them smooth, trying to get them so that if somebody was listening, they wouldn't necessarily hear the switch between the single and the double. A really good way to exercise this is to get a voice recorder on your phone, just lay it next to you as you're practicing, like on a practice pad or a snare drum or whatever, and listening to, like, obviously just listening to the audio. See if you can hear the gap. See if you can hear like, oh, I changed from singles to doubles there. You're trying to get it pretty seamless. It's never going to be like perfect, but we're looking for some nice consistency, and we're looking for like confidence in its execution. So even moving between singles and doubles, and different combinations of these, as we can see, because this page is an enormous amount of singles and doubles, we can see that this is already permutating and growing its own like variances, essentially. So, we have paradiddles, we have 6-stroke rolls, we have paradiddle diddles. Just between singles and doubles, that's an enormous wealth of stuff to go into. If we speed it up, like there's some good stuff to get into just with singles and doubles on a single surface. Like I moved it around a little bit, but just on the snare, there's some good stuff. Moving quickly on, let's move on to, so one of the things that you can do with this is to substitute things. Substituting kick drums for stuff. So even with this singles, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, if we take that last left on the one E and put a bass drum on that then we have a variation. And then within that variation, as I was doing there, you can move around the accents to create entirely different sets of sounds and noises and feels. So this is two things right there. We can play with the accents, we can play with substitution stuff. And then we can take that with our bread, with our single stroke roll, and we move between them. So that was a little accident, but that was essentially displacement because I put the kick on the 1. Happy accidents. But as you can see there, moving it around, like keeping that same hand pattern and moving the accents about is a really great way of constructing these different types of feels. Another thing that we can do is to look at the stickings of them. So like obviously we have singles and doubles, we have 1s and 2s. In this pattern, we have a 3 and a 1, essentially. We have snare, 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 snare. That's 3, last I checked. and then a 1. So that's our kick. With our 3, we can construct that 3 in a whole bunch of different ways. We could do right, right, right kick. We could do left, left, left kick. We could do left, right, left kick. We could do right, left, left kick. We could do left, right, with so many different types of 3s that you could build from. You could do unisons, like ba, 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 like this. But the one that we're going to look at is right, left, left kick. This is, for a lot of people, like baby's first linear fill. And this is a fantastic way of, this is a kind of almost like a prescribed accent pattern, because we've got a single and then we've got 2 doubles, which really lend themselves well to being ghosted. And then a kick, don't text them back. They've got to be ghosted. And then a kick, which is going to be pretty loud because we all like to smack our bass drums, right? So, moving between singles and the right, left, left kick. As you can see with that, given the 3 floor toms, with that kick, I have so much time to move. And this is a really nice mobility feature of these types of patterns that you don't have to think of adjacent drums. One of the things that I do with this kit a lot is I'll pretend the 12 and the 16 don't exist. So I'm just going 10, 14, 18. So as you can see with those little kicks inserted, I'm able to move around like a really wide space, creating a really wide melodic footprint. And also it looks kind of cool. Like it looks big because you're moving much, much bigger. Your movements are much bigger. There we go. How are we doing? How long have we been going? Okay, about 20 minutes. So now we've got substitutions. So we're substituting the for the kick. We have accent changing different accents. Excuse me. And then we have changing up stickings. Another thing that I really, really like to do, which I accidentally did earlier, is to move, essentially permutate it, displace things. So with the right, left, left kick, 1E and one thing that I've been doing lately that I found that I really, really like, I found out of this system, is to put the kick on the 1. Did I put this in the worksheet? Right, okay. Actually, I did. I put the kick on. Yeah. So bar 5, 6, 7, 8. Bar 8. Kick right, left, left. Great, cool. So moving between bar 8 and bar 1. Hooray. And then if you were to move between bar 7 and bar 8, I really like that hi-hat one. That one, so the one where I had it like right hand on the hi-hat, left hand on the snare drum was kind of cool, but it lacked a little bit of pop because the snare wasn't getting any accents. But then, so that's when I switched. That's why I switched the hands around, because the accents in that pattern all land on the right. And then you end up with a cool like groove fill. So we have displacing things. So essentially, it's that idea of like take the last beat, make it first, and then just do that over and over again until you have the same thing. So between those things, like substitutions, accents, changing up stickings, and permutating things. And obviously some of these I've already put those in to kind of illustrate like some of my favorite ones, essentially some of the ones that I use a lot, and some of the ones that I've come across that I really, really enjoy the sound of. I've kind of arranged for you and put in there. There are more things that you can kind of go into. But ultimately the best thing to do with this is to just to mess around, find patterns that you enjoy, that you like the sound of, that work well with your setup. Maybe you have one of the things that's great about the linear stuff, and one of the things I like about the having little effect symbols and so on and so forth, is because you have such time to move around, you can really incorporate other bits of the kit. It doesn't necessarily need to be all, I don't know, a linear motion, or not linear. Is that the right word? But just a typical motion of left to right, that you're able to move around a lot more in a lot different paths around the kit, which is really, really cool. Try and find as many tropes in your playing, try and find as many stereotypes in your playing, and then just bin them. A couple of games I like to play with this kind of stuff actually, when I'm trying to find new stuff, really, is I'll ban the snare drum, or I'll ban rack toms. I can only play kick, snare, hat, floor tom. Ban drum heads. You can only play on the rim. You can't play the bass drum. You have to play your left foot. So you're playing these these patterns. And you're just finding new sounds. You're just messing around. There's no wrong answer. So yeah, I will continue with the vocab kind of construction stuff in future videos. This will definitely be, this isn't the way. This isn't exhaustive. But it's a really nice foot in the door, and it's a really nice kind of, if you want to practice, if you want to work on some stuff, but you don't necessarily know what you want to work on, this is a great thing to look at. So yeah, I'm going to sign off there. I hope you have enjoyed this lesson. I hope you get a lot out of this, because yeah, there's a lot to do. And yeah, keep well and happy drumming.